everyone, it's Kerry back again today. I was recently inspired by a picture that I saw on Facebook. The lady's name was Joanne and she'd posted this awesome photo of a Denison handy box that she had found. Now Joanne has lots of other lovely vintage pictures over on her Instagram account, so I'll pop a link below and you can go and check that out. As soon as I saw the picture of the Denison handy box, I knew that I wanted to create something with a bit more of a journal maker's theme. So I've created this journal maker's handy box, and the label is laser engraved white chipboard that's just been adhered onto the top of the box, and I've used a crackle paint technique to give it a bit of a grungy vintage feel. So when we open the box, on the inside there's this stack of envelopes here. Now these have all been tea-dyed and the labels have been created and printed out and then adhered onto the envelopes. Each one of these little boxes also has a label that's been printed out with the words on the box, so you know what's inside the box. Over here in the lid, we'll go through that first. So it just, everything is held inside the lid with some seam binding, and you just untie it to access the goodies in the top. So we've got some Tiffany & Co stamped coin envelopes here. These are just a light craft colour. And then there's a couple of different sizes of shipping tags. So there's those ones and these ones here. And these are white chipboard page tabs, so you can just pop these out of the tag, and then you can or stamp on these, colour them up however you like, and then you can just add them to the edge of your page like a page tab. So there's two different styles of page tabs there. And then there's three different stencils. There's the micro dots, there's the numbers, and also the honeycomb or hexagons. There's also this postage stamp or postmark stamp, clear stamp. This is actually a Kaiser Craft stamp, but I thought it fit the theme quite well, so I've popped that in here. And then there's another Kaiser Craft stamp here which has a grungy sort of ticket with lines on this side, and this one's a bit hard to see, but it's like a mini ledger type stamp, and this is some text at the top here. And then there's a couple of vintage layaway and also alteration tags in there as well. So that's what's in the lid. We'll pop that over to the side. And then in this box of goodies we've got a stack of envelopes full of goodies. There's two different colours of waxed thread and a stack of corrugated tags with twine in the top there, and then a whole bunch of little Matchbox type drawers containing goodies. So we'll go through the envelopes first. These have just been tied up with string. I won't take all of the contents out of the envelope, but I'll just give you a bit of a sneak peek inside each one. So the first one has labels, and when we open it up there's some vintage themed botanical labels with mushrooms and things like that on there, and there's probably about 8 or 10 of those in there. The reinforcement rings has three different types of reinforcement rings. There's the standard white ones that have adhesive on, and you can just stick those over the holes in your page. There's also a craft coloured one which is the same, this one's adhesive, and then there's some white chipboard ones which are a little bit more sturdy. You can colour these or ink spray them, stamp on them, whatever you like, but these do not have adhesive on the back, so you need to use a little bit of glue to adhere those down. So that's that one. Inside this one we have a bunch of different journaling cards. There's botanicals, collage themed ones, different botanicals, So a whole bunch of those in there. The tickets one has a few different types of tickets. So there's some coloured ones here, and then there's also some plain numbered tickets in the bottom here. Different ones of those. Put that back together afterwards. The tags one has lots of different shapes and sizes of tags, and there's some in craft and some in white. So there's quite a few in there, different ones. The die cuts, now these are all in neutral tones, so you can add your own colours to them to make them match your journal, but there's tons of different ones in here. There's some decorative ones, some words, all kinds of different die cuts. In the note papers one, we have lots of different note papers. There's some advertising type ones and some vintage themed ones. There's about a dozen or so, I suppose, in that one. The cabinet cards, now these were handmade from white chipboard, and I've just used a faux rusting technique to give them the rusty look. And this was inspired, or I was inspired to do these by Eva from Bohemian Crafting. I will leave a link below to her channel. If you haven't seen Eva's work, you need to go over and have a look. Her work is amazing. So they've just had the faux rusting technique on the front, and then they're just manila cardstock on the back there, so you can still journal on those if you'd like. So this one has some different types of labels. These are again laser engraved onto white chipboard, so you can ink over the top of those if you want, and you can't smudge that because it's actually laser burnt into the chipboard. So there's 4 of those. And the last envelope has some vintage images in there. So these are cut from the vintage wrapping paper, and these are great to use for the cabinet cards. So that's those ones. So then we get into these little matchboxes. So each one of these contains some different little treasures to use in your journals. So this one here is full of these laser engraved number tags or number labels, and you can just ink or spray onto the white chipboard, and because they're engraved you won't lose the numbers, that you can't sort of smudge them or muck them up. So there's a little box full of those. The one that says pins surprisingly has pins in it, and it's just got a selection of different coloured bulb pins and safety pins. There are 3 different types of labels in this collection. So these ones are the sort of more traditional type labels. There's a whole bunch of those in there. The clock charms, these have been cut from 3mm MDF wood, so they're hard. The back has just got some vintage German book page. Now if you've got a crocodile or some other sturdy hole punch, you can actually punch a hole through this 3mm MDF if you want to, or if you wanted to use it as a charm, you could just glue a little jewellery bail on the back and that will give you a loop, or you can of course just use some glue to adhere it down. So that's those ones. There's a few different ones of those. The stamps has about a dozen of the white chipboard postage, faux postage stamps that I've just used one of our digitals on to create these little nature themed postage stamps. So they're really cute. Little box full of those. The key tags, again, this is the white chipboard with the number engraving on there. So the numbers have only been engraved on one side, so you can still journal or whatever on the back if you wanted to. And again, you can ink them, spray them, paint them, stamp on them, whatever you would like. Buttons has a collection of metal and plastic buttons. these labels are like decorative labels with words and things like that on them. This little box has lots of tiny tags with strings. These metal findings are the ones that I quite often use on the tops of my tags. So they're actually picture hangers. So you can just use them to pop on the top of your tag like that, and then you can thread your twine or your seam binding or whatever through those. So whenever I post a picture of a tag with those on, I always get asked what are they, and they're picture hangers. The next one is mini book plates. So there's a couple of different styles. There's these two here, and I've also included the inserts, so if you wanted to stamp your word or whatever on these before you pop them onto your tag or onto the front of your book. So there's those, little box full of them. The next one has some wooden keys, and there's a few different styles. So there's these little mini ones that again have numbers engraved on them. Now because these are wood, you can just use the hole to hang them like a charm off your book, and they're not going to, you know, damage in any way. And again, you can paint or ink these if you like. And then there's also this style of key, and there's a couple of different sizes of that one in this box. Some more labels over here, and these are all postage type labels like airmail stickers and that sort of thing. So there's a bunch of those in there. Paper clips. I think there's 3 different sizes of paper clips in here, so that's should keep you going for a while. And finally, a little box full of assorted metal charms, and there's quite a good assortment in here. There's birds, words, all sorts of different charms, keys, feathers, tons of different metal charms in there. So that is a look through my Journal Maker's handy box. I really had a good time creating this. It was quite a lengthy project. It took me a lot longer than I thought it was going to take, but I did have fun creating it. I will pop this one up in my shop. There will only be one of these available, and the link will be in the description box below. So I hope you've enjoyed having a look through that with me. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!